Tale amohela hape mona ho Motswako. Na re netefatsa hore bana ba bashanyana le ba banana ba na le ditokelo tse lekanang tsa menyetla. Na moloko o latelang o tla phela ka tekano ho bong. Re na le Gugu Ndebele, CEO ya Save the Children South Africa. Ra amohela ho Motswako Gugu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Bana ba rona Gugu ho na le tekano ya bong. Ha re sheba the new generation, the younger generation.
You know, from where I'm sitting, I think there is some progress in gender equality for young people. Because on the one hand, you do see a lot of opportunities that are opening up for girls and boys. Girls can participate in areas that they never could participate in. But the environment mitigates against that. If you look at the high levels of gender-based violence that we see in our country, it can be possible that it's easy for young girls to be the best that they can be. So, and you know, so on the one hand, there's so many opportunities, but the environment within which the girls live in particular, makes it difficult for them to realize those opportunities.
Gender parity and gender equality in the workplace. But banabarona dikolong, we've seen a level of violence that is absolutely shocking. You know, the boy child attacking the girl child attacking another girl child. And one has to say, what are we doing as a society to ensure that we elevate the status of the girl child while at the same time not diminishing the status of the boy child?
I think when we talk about gender-based violence, if you look at society as a whole, or South Africa, we are a country which is prone of violence. And therefore you cannot remove that from any other form of violence. So when we deal with violence, gender-based violence, you also have to look at the totality. Because as we socialize, attitudes, perceptions, we've got to change. Because if we don't address them, we will not be able to ensure that the space it created becomes a space which allows the girl child to express herself in all areas. So we really have to deal with violence. And it's also about our language, what we say, how we talk, right from our homes.
It also talks to the education programs that we have in place. Ostaki, you were going to tell us about the education programs that Vodacom supports.
Yes, I will talk about the Vodacom educational programs in its totality, starting by what we do for our colleagues. For our colleagues, in order to address the statistics that I mentioned at the beginning, we've got several developmental programs that we have put in place that include both men and women. For instance, we've got a Woman in Leadership program where we nurture women that are at junior and senior specialist level in order to ensure that we build their self-awareness, self-esteem, and self-confidence, and give them coping skills to succeed in an unequal environment. We also have a program where we nurture women that are outside Vodacom, in partnership with educational institutions, in order to ensure that we bring them into Vodacom. So far, since we started the program in 2014, we have managed to bring 20 women into Vodacom. Then we've got a woman networking session. And this is where women meet periodically to share messages and lessons about their journey into the corporate sector. And we make sure that we bring men to participate. In fact, the last one that we had, it was attended by our CEO and two of my male ex-colleagues. And it was conversational. It was an open conversation where the men themselves were saying they embrace gender diversity and they have to ensure that the discussions should cascade and go down to the lower levels. At community level, what do? We've got a Vodacom mobile education program which we run through the Vodacom Foundation. And this we do not do alone. We do in partnership with the Department of Basic Education. And mentioning the Department of Basic Education, I need to emphasize that you cannot deal with gender diversity without partners. The power of partnership is very important. So what we have with the department is digital literacy programs, where as Vodacom we provide connectivity and the department brings digital content through what we call the Vodacom e-school. We also focus on educating the teachers, because we are not going to be able to deal with the stereotypes that exclude girls from the STEM subjects if we don't start with the teachers themselves. We also have a Vodacom ICT Youth Academy, where in partnership with our Cisco and Microsoft, we offer certification courses. And I'm proud to say that from last year's intake, we have increased the number of women to 55%.
That's wonderful.
And we're encouraging them not to be just consumers of technologies, but to be owners of businesses. So these are some of the projects that we put in place, but also, again, to encourage digital literacy. We are connecting schools. We have so far connected 3,000 schools in the country to ensure that the teachers and the learners get comfortable in using technologies. And in the teacher learning centers, we've got community services and facilities in the form of an e-library and an internet cafe, which are not only accessed by Vodacom subscribers, but members of the communities in which we operate, because we are committed to digital literacy. If you do not deal with the issue of digital literacy, our concern is that the girls and the women are going to continue to be left in the revolution.
Absolutely.
We were left out in the first, second, and third revolution. We cannot afford to be left out
of
in
the fourth revolution. Absolutely. And one of the most important things that you mentioned is men as partners. How do we incorporate this and make it a reality in everyday life? Men as partners in the fight for gender equality. Motswako?
Well, I think it's important that when we work with young people, that you don't make it a competition, that it's really about achievement. And, you know, our program, the reason why we emphasize girls in particular in this instance is that they start school and they don't finish because they fall pregnant. We've just seen studies now that show that girls are 8 times likely to be infected with HIV. So you want programs that allow girls to make choices, to make responsible choices, but also that talk to boys about their responsibility to their partners and to their future. But we also encourage what we call gatekeepers. We work with parents, but more specifically Department of Health, so that they make those clinics youth-friendly, so that when children go there, they don't judge them, and anyone can go in there. So it's the same process that you do with girls and boys, but you highlight girls without putting boys down.
Masabi hore nako ya rena se fedile ka jeno empa ke a le leboga ho ba le rena ka jeno. Thank you. Ha re pheta lenaneo la rona bosiung bona ke rata ho hopotsa mantswe a buileng ke yena mme Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka. Achieving gender equality is about disrupting the status quo, not negotiating it. Tikano ya bong ha se ntho eo o hlokang ho ikopa, o na le yona. Ke ka hoo o tlamehile ho thibella ba nahanang hore ha ona toka eo. Re leboha ha le buhile bosiung bona, ha le na le diphiso kapa dipotso ka kopo iteanye le rona ho Ask Motswako ho Facebook kapa Twitter. Le be le bosiu bo monate.
Alexa spills the beans about Villain's new girlfriend, Thursday on Seven Delan. The season's winner is announced on the penultimate Nuit for Nuit, and James's tragic loss is tearing him apart on Mubango.